made the state finals. I think I ran like 48. No offers, of course, off of that. Believe it or not, I was actually in a Marine recruiter's office that summer because I thought, I was gonna go to Marines. But within that same week, I was like, I want to run summer track, see what it's like. I ran 47.5, and he offered me a full ride on the spot. And so,
Whoa! A half a second is the difference between a scholarship and eventually a gold medal and the Marines.
Yep.
That's crazy. Welcome to another episode of National Champion Radio. I'm thrilled to welcome 2024 gold medalist Chris Bailey to the show. Chris was a key member, the first leg in the U.S.'s 4x400 relay team win. Not only did this event demand speed and teamwork and strategy, but it required relentless dedication. His performance on the Olympics showcased his ability to rise to the occasion under immense pressure, bringing home the gold medal and solidifying his place among the world's elite athletes. And this is a gem because you just got Chris coming off the Olympics in 2024, but you better believe he'll be back setting the stage in ways you can't even see right now in 2028 in Los Angeles. Chris Bailey, welcome to National Champion Radio. Thanks for joining us.
Yes, sir. Thank y'all for having me.
Yeah. And so you said you were unboxing that. Let me see what you got there, man. You got a little.
Here we go. It come in a little case, and then it's like a grand reveal.
Oh, lift it up a little bit.
That's it.
Okay. Yeah. Man. That's looking nice right there.
I
So you were on the road for a little bit. Where were you out off to?
I flew back to Atlanta last Saturday, technically. The Braves game was that Saturday. They wanted us to come out there, gave us a little VIP experience and, got us our custom jerseys. So that was fun. And then that Monday, I had an interview with 11 Alive. And so they got me in the studio, got my little journey out there. Then following that, I had a few days of rest. I believe that Wednesday I met Mayor Andre Dickens. So I was down at City Hall. Yep.
Oh, okay. The mayor of
Atlanta. Yeah.
Atlanta mayor. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Made some time. How was that, man? How was that?
Man, it was nice. To have somebody local within that space is very nice. He went to Mays High School and then spent most of his collegiate experience down there, downtown Atlanta, going to Georgia Tech and Georgia State. So it's good to have someone who grew up in that environment that you were in, be in that position to show people that it is possible. And I feel as though both of us are doing that in our own right. So good experience with him. And then what was it? The past Saturday I was at Atlanta United game. So action-packed week, I would say.
This might have been the most unique experience for you coming home since winning a gold medal. Things have changed, right?
Oh yeah.
Talk to me about how your life changed post gold medal just a couple weeks ago.
I would say a lot of new doors have opened up. With this past season I was unsponsored, so there's new doors opening up with that. Also, just being able to go back home and show people that a lot of things are possible, no matter where you come from. Because my high school wasn't a big track school, so to be able to bring back a gold medal from the Olympics, which was the first ever at Carver High School.
Yeah.
So, just a good experience. I got to present the girls track and field team for winning a state. They won state in the 4x1. I got to present them their rings that they didn't know they were getting, so that was a little surprise for them. I'm getting a banner hung up in our school's gym, so that's just an amazing feeling.
Yeah. That's exciting, man. I mean, and talking about Atlanta, you grew up in downtown Atlanta.
Yes.
And like you said, there's not a lot of Black people who are successful in track from downtown Atlanta. It's not a big thing. I think you mentioned that on your interview. I mean, talk to me about, firstly, just your time growing up in downtown Atlanta, what it was like for you, what do you take from there that shaped you, I think, to where you are today? And what do you want to have as your impact for the city going forward? So what it was like and what
Um,
you want to do going forward.
so many people have learned this. I did not start track and field until my junior year of high school. Um, technically,
What?
I ran. Yeah, technically, I ran a little bit in middle school, my 8th grade year. But once I got to high school, I just kind of chilled, relaxed for my 9th and 10th grade year. Then I was like, okay, I want to do something now. So to come around junior year, that's when I started.
Wait,
Yeah,
did you
yeah.
know you were fast?
Yeah, I knew I was fast. Fast kid in the neighborhood, quote
Were you like the
unquote.
fastest person? Did people beat you in races growing up?
There was one person.
There was
One
one.
person. It was one. It
Oh,
was
you
one.
don't. You.
We kind of went back and forth. But
Okay, but that was like in a hundred, like a quick like sprint.
yeah, not even like we never really measured anything. I just know I raced you to this light pole to the end of the street or stuff like that.
Man. Yes.
But yeah, then starts my junior year. That's when I was running the 800.
Okay.
I think I finally decided to make the switch or incorporate the 400 when I ran leadoff leg at state. That state meet that year.
Okay.
And after that I was like, Coach Bell, that was my high school coach at the time, who's since passed away. But
Oh, sorry.
yeah, I went to him and I was like, I want to do the 400 next year. And he was like, okay, well, if you do the 400, you still got to do the 800. And I was like, man, all right, that's fine. So, senior year come around, I'm doing now cross country because I was the only person on the team that didn't play football.
Okay.
And so that was my way of, fall conditioning, I would say. So yeah, ran cross country. Then track season come around, doing the 4 and the 8. But we're also like, okay, you got to do this event and this event. So I did the 100 and the 200 as well. Like once, just to see, just to get a time.
Yeah.
Did that. And then I think it was like towards the end of the season when it was time to start, trying to qualify for state. That's when I decided to just fully focus on the 400 because that was the event that I was constantly improving in each meet. Whereas the 800, I wasn't even able to run a 202 like at the time. So, I focused on the 400, made the state finals. I think I ran like 48.5 or something, which wasn't fast enough to get me
senior year?
My senior year. Yeah.
Okay.
I ran like 48.5. No offers, of course, off of that. Couldn't expect too much.
Right.
And so, believe it or not, I was actually in a Marine recruiter's office that summer because I thought, I was going to go to Marines. But within that same week, I decided to call one of the starters that was at, a lot of our meets down there at Lakewood Stadium.
Okay.
We ran a lot of our track meets at. Called him up. I was like, I want to run summer track, see what it's like. I ran three meets for a Mercury Track Club. And at that second meet, that's where I met the coach at my first school, Mississippi Valley State University. I ran 47.5, and he offered me a full ride on the spot. And so,
whoa,
that's when my college journey started.
Wait, you got a full ride offer on the spot, not from running a 48 in high school as a senior, but you ran for him during summer. And what'd you end up running then?
47.5.
So we're talking about a half a second, maybe a full second.
Yeah, in track, that's
a lifetime. That's part of what we got to talk about today. Is I mean, we're talking, for a whole lap, right? We're talking an entire lap. Like that's not like I can see if it was 100 meter, half a second and 100 meters. But you got 400 meters, so maybe there's some more. But no, a half a second is the difference between a scholarship and eventually a gold medal and the Marines.
Yep.
That's crazy. Maybe you can help explain how track runners start to split those seconds. How do you get from the 48 that you ran in high school as a senior to the 47 that got you into college on a full ride to the 44 in part on that leg, I think that gets you the gold medal, right? Which you run in that split of 44.5.
I've seen both. So
Yeah. Okay.
I'm gonna go with 44.5. I say 44.5
just to make it. Yeah. Okay. So I mean, how do you get yourself down? What's the process to getting yourself down and creating those extra seconds, milliseconds of improvement as you go along as a runner?
The main thing I would say is, being coachable, finding the right coach for you, because not everybody runs the same. You have
Right.
people that's going out there running the first 200 in, sub 21 seconds, and they're able to do that. Whereas I'm more reserve runner, so that first 200, I'm taking it, a little bit more relaxed, trying to stay close to the pack as much as I can because I know my final 200 is my strongest aspect. Um, and just having determination,
Hmm.
because the 400 is going to hurt regardless. And, every elite 400 runner knows that. It's, before you get to that level, it's just learning, oh, this is going to hurt, but what can I do better in my races to get me through that hurt and to get me to that finish line quicker than everybody else? So,
Yeah. Now, is there things with form, with diet,
yeah.
with technique, with I don't know the way you run? Maybe your form could have saved you. I mean, what were the things I guess that we talk about being coachable? What are some of the biggest things you took away from your first coach in Arizona? I mean, sorry, in Arkansas.
Um, I would say first of all, technique and form is key.
Okay.
That is what keeps your momentum going after that. First 200, first 300, keep you going in that last 150 meters. Yeah. So form and technique is key. That is something that everyone should have and everyone should learn to, get familiar with. Um, Key
But everybody
takeaways
doesn't
from my
run the same, right? Some people
nope.
have different form, so you got to
Hmm.
find the form that makes you the fastest,
Yep.
which could vary between person to person.
Hmm.
Which is kind of yeah. I guess you just got to go through it and find out the spot that works for you. But like you said,
Yeah. And
being
I mean,
coachable is number one.
yeah, we run so much. So, eventually you will adapt to what form works best for you. And then that is what the coaches are for as well. They correct technique 24/7.
Okay.
Like to this day. Like, I mean, when I was training before we left for the Olympics, when I was training, it was still a few keys in there where my coach was like, okay, you're tilting your head back or your shoulders are too high, gotta relax, stuff like that. Um, and once you get more in depth with it, you talk about stuff like shin angle and all different
Yeah,
types of stuff.
yeah. That's
Yeah,
so
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah, it gets
Okay.
a little complicated. It gets a little complicated.
That's yeah. That's I mean, because a
Mhm.
big part of here, man, is like trying to dissect excellence. We talk about national champion radio. I'm gonna do your intro
Mhm.
in a minute. I usually do it up front, but we got the
Yeah.
going, so I like just
Yeah.
letting it flow. But we like to dissect excellence in these different fields, and obviously, I get some of these like scientists that come on. Obviously, people super obscure about what they're talking about. But even
Mhm.
here, when it comes to something like running, which is like I mean, not these days in America, but as human beings, it's a fundamental part of our existence. It's how we
Mhm.
get around, not just walking because we're bipedal. Bipedal, is also running. We have to be able to run. Got to be able to, hunt and track things down. It's a huge part of who we are.
Mhm.
I think us and kangaroos are like some of the few bipedal
Yeah.
primates, right? And so it's huge. And so you would think it's not that complicated. You would think, hey, the fastest person who was just born the fastest is going to run the fastest and win. It was all just natural talent. And but it's like, nah, there's, I don't know, probably 1,000 people, maybe 5,000 people. I don't know, maybe more. I don't know. You probably know within a second or two of your time,
Yeah.
within a second or two within your time. Yet they wouldn't have been there. Actually, once again, if it wasn't for uh, the summer call you made, and if it wasn't
Yeah.
for a half a second, somebody else would have been on that podium trying to be on
Mhm.
the first leg of the 400 4x400. But instead, it was you
Mhm.
by I don't know, such an incremental difference. Like you said, shin splint, shin difference. I heard you talk about the fact that the flight and where you're running at can be a big, huge impact, right? If you got to
Mhm.
go somewhere and run, I think you were out in Oregon when you said this, and just in
Yep.
Eugene and
Yep.
the
Yeah.
travel time, and it was like that can make I can imagine that making a quarter second, on a 400. So that is interesting to just dissect that a little, just to hear. the different attention to detail that goes into producing those extra half seconds, quarter
Yeah.
seconds, milliseconds that lead you guys to the win.
Um, yeah, touching on that travel thing,
Yeah.
a lot of people travel at different times for track meets because everybody doesn't compete on the same day. And so, like for trials, for instance, there was, I guess, 2 weeks worth of track and field.
Okay.
Um, and so if you compete on that second week, of course you're not going to be out there that first week, but you do have to get there, a certain amount of time just to get, accustomed to where you're going or where you're going to be at. Living situations, anything that can happen, you know, like say your reservations messed up or something, you got to be out there to fix those things and to make sure everything's in line because you don't want that affecting you during competition.
Mm.
Um, as runners, sitting on a plane for X amount of hours is uncomfortable. So you have to schedule out, when you want to travel, when you want to get there, how much time you have between when you get there and when you compete. All those things go into play. Agents help a lot with that. Just having that conversation with them and them learning their athlete,
Okay.
it plays a role.
I mean, your journey to the Olympics is pretty remarkable. It's pretty wild. You didn't run track for the first time until you were a junior in high school,
Hmm.
which is pretty crazy.
Yeah.
You didn't run the 400 until you were a senior. Now, I asked
Hmm.
you, did you know you were fast growing up, and what took you so long to get into track? Like, did you ever think you would win a gold medal in your sophomore year of high school? Like,
Mm-mm. Not at all. I didn't even think I would, be in the sport. I finally something just finally kicked in my junior year, and believe it or not, my JROTC instructor, he was the one that actually he was the final nail. It was like, okay, you need to go out there and get on that track team. So
really, what did he
yeah, shout
say?
out to him. Yep, he was. It was just one day we were outside doing physical activity, and for some reason we just started racing, and I was beating everybody in the races. It was like, you run track? And I was like, nah, I don't really do anything. He was like, you should try it, and I was like, okay, well, let's see. Um, so yeah, I go out there first practice. First practice is cool. I'm walking home, and then I catch Charlie horses in both my calf muscles, so I just have to sit down and track practice didn't see me for a few days after that. But then I finally decided to go back out there, and then that's when I started to, take it serious. So,
Wow, wow, that's crazy. You could have gave up right at those Charlie horses, man. You could have said,
yep.
you know what, I'm out of here. And so, like we
Mhm.
talked about, you go off. You're going to go to the Army. Maybe break us through when you're going to consider after senior year
Mhm.
going to the Army or going to the Marines,
Yeah, Marines.
and then you decide to give track one more chance. Maybe start us there, and then take us to the Olympics.
Yeah. So, before I graduated high school, my PR in the 400 was 48.5. I believe I ran that at the state championship meet my senior year. And so, I wasn't really getting too much traction with that with college recruiters. And so, after I graduated that summer, I was in a Marine recruiter's office, um, you know, I'm mentally preparing to go to Marines. And something just told me to call this starter that's normally at Lakewood Stadium, Augustus Pritchett, with Mercury Track Club. I called him and I just decided to run summer track that summer. Ran 3 meets, and at that second meet, I ran a 47.5. And the coach from Mississippi Valley State, well, the coach at the time from Mississippi Valley State, he chopped it up with me and pretty much offered me a full ride scholarship on the spot. And that was my reasoning for going to Mississippi Valley. And from there, track and field for me just took off. So,
Really?
hmm
Yeah. So at Mississippi Valley, you got some real good coaching. Started really
hmm
getting those times together, and started to see that you were perhaps a world class athlete, not just a collegiate
yeah.
level athlete, but like, I might be the
Mhm.
best in the world at this.
Oh yeah. My freshman year, shout out Coach Nadia Alexander Pompey. She she was, really rooting for me because when I got there, the coach that offered me the full ride scholarship, he wasn't there anymore. Not sure why he got released, but that happened. And so it took a while to get us a new coach in, and Coach Nadia finally came in, and I mean, she just really boosted my career. I ended my freshman year running a 46.4. So from 48.5 to 46.4 within a year, not too bad. Um, yeah, so she that next year, my sophomore year, she actually got a job offer from another university, and her being my coach, I'm gonna go with her. But when I went in the portal, that's when all the Power Five schools started coming in, and I had to give her that call, and me and her talked about it, and decided my best decision was to take one of those offers, and that's how I landed at Tennessee. And I spent January 2020 to May 2022 there, so roughly 2 years, I would say.
Okay.
Spent 2 years there with Coach Ken Harden and David Neville, two Olympic coaches in their own right.
Yeah.
And that took me from that 46.4 to that 45.2. And then my final year there, pretty much my whole career at Tennessee, dealing with a few injuries, specifically in the hamstrings and whatnot. So that kind of hindered my performance there. But to be able to PR through all of that, I mean, earn my first SEC gold in the 4x4, multiple time All-American. It was just an honor in its right. And huge shout out to those two coaches.
Yeah.
Who are still doing their things, coaching Olympic level athletes. But yeah, spent my final year of eligibility here at the University of Arkansas, where I still remain.
Okay.
What was that? Last year. My first time being a part of team titles at the conference level and the national level. Great experience, by the way. Nothing tops that in collegiate track and field.
Yeah, tell me about that a little bit, just a little.
Yeah, so my first year here at Arkansas, we were able to, perform the indoor sweep with SECs and nationals on both the men and women's side, which is insane. I mean, finished up my indoor season running the second fastest. What was the second fastest?
Second fastest
Well, yeah,
indoor
second fastest overall
collegiate
split.
Oh.
Second fastest overall split on the 4x4 was a 44.18, just insane. NCAA champions in the 4x4. My first individual All-American finish in indoor because I was always injured at Tennessee, so I wasn't able to run individually. But yeah, my first individual finish, a PR of 45.09. We ran the second fastest time in world history in the indoor 4x4. But, a lot of good things came from indoor. It really boosted me up going into outdoor. But then outdoor came along, and there was a lot of external factors going on. Like, at one point I got sick, like a few weeks before outdoor ACCs. The week before outdoor ACCs, my grandmother passed away. So, it was just a lot going on. And it took me a while to, shake back from that because I still had a season to run. Outdoor ACCs wasn't great at all. I ran horribly, and we didn't run the 4x4 because I was out. But we still won the team title because Woo Pig.
Woo Pig? That's the Razorback. That's what they say. Woo Pig.
Woo Pig Suey.
Woo Pig Suey.
But yeah. So we go to regionals next. I believe I was the last qualifying time to make it to nationals from regionals. And then nationals, I started running fast again. I got back to those 45 low times, but just wasn't fast enough to make that finals for the individual 400. We made finals for the 4x4. I believe we got 8th in that. And that's technically when my professional track and field career started.
Really? Why did it officially start there?
Because I was done with college track at the time. The NCAA Nationals was my last collegiate meet. The next meet was USA Trials, and at that I
For
was
the
still
Olympics.
yeah, no, for World Championships last
For
year.
World Championships, got it.
Yeah, that was my first world team in Budapest. I was still running in Arkansas at trials, but because that was supported me to get there.
Right.
But yeah, my first world team, I got what, sixth in the finals at trials, and that's what made me eligible for the relay pool. I was able to run the preliminary round of the 4x4, the men's 4x4, and so that's how I got my first world championship gold medal.
Congratulations.
So yeah, shout out that team, and then that brings us to this season that just ended. I made what, 3 teams this year.
Okay.
It started out with World Indoors, where we got second in the 4x4. It was a viral clip of me and Alexander Doom over there smacking each other hands.
Yeah.
Which I found real funny. But yeah, we got second in that, and then that led us to Bahamas for World Relays, and then Paris Olympics. So yeah, 3
Yeah. So
teams.
talk about the. I mean,
Season.
how do you even qualify for the Paris Olympics? And then how do you end up being picked as the first leg?
Mm-hmm.
How do you? I mean, I'm sure there's a bunch of people who run 400 meters and
Yep.
various other events. How did
Mm-hmm.
that four? How did that even get decided that those are the four? Who makes that decision? And then, yeah, how do your times impact that? Or is it other Olympics or other world event? I don't even know any of that.
Okay, so to qualify for the Olympics for the United States of America, we have an Olympic team trials. So that's when we all fly up to Eugene, Oregon, or wherever they decide to host it at, which is normally always Eugene, Oregon. We compete for the 400. We ran 3 different days. I don't remember the day specifically, but I know we ran our first 400 on one day, and then we had a break in between, and then the next 2 days was back to back. So preliminary rounds, then semifinals, and then finals. You progress through those rounds. You make the final. Top 3 individually, they compete in the 400 at the Olympics, and then I believe this year was discretionary about how many relay legs would be going to the Olympics. Of course, USA has depth within all events, and so many of the 400 runners that were in that final, they were already ranked top 20, if not top 15 in the world at that time, and I mean, I'm pretty sure still are. So yeah, I got third in the final, which grabbed me my ticket, punched my ticket to Paris Olympics, my first individual world team.
Congrats on that.
Yeah, thank you.
That's massive. Because you
Yeah,
couldn't even
making it.
run at individuals at Tennessee because you were injured all the time.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
flash forward, and you
yeah.
get third, and you're off to Paris.
Yeah, I was joking with my coach here at Arkansas. I was like, I never made an individual 400 final in college, but here I am running an Olympic final in the 400. But
Now, do you ever get imposter syndrome with all of that? I mean, you didn't run before. You weren't a runner really until junior year. You're in this place with all these world class, remarkable athletes.
My intention, I honestly didn't expect to make the individual 400. Something that really flipped the switch for me was when I went back home to Atlanta and I ran at a American Track League meet at Morehouse. That was when I had my at the time my breakthrough race where I ran 44.4. That's when I was like, okay, I think I can make this team individually. It's possible. I've ran this time. I know what I need to do. Now it's just a matter of going out there and executing the perfect race for me. Which coincidentally I did in the final because I ran that exact same time that I ran at Morehouse in that final to make that team. So,
Wow.
But yeah, imposter syndrome, kinda, because
Okay.
a lot of people did not expect me to get that third spot, and so that was my inner self telling me, okay, you belong here. So that's why imposter syndrome, not really.
Not really.
But yeah.
Okay, so then you punch your ticket to Olympics to Paris, and then you somehow end up with that first leg on the 4x400. How does that happen?
Yeah. Whew, that was crazy. Cause before we ran our individual 400s at the Olympics, we were put in a group chat, and the relay coach Mike Marsh, that's who puts the relays for the men together. He messaged us and it was like, we may need one of y'all to run in the preliminary rounds for the 4x4, because they didn't have a lot of relay legs available. Um, and so I planned on running that preliminary round, and I thought that would have been my last 400 of the meet, but
Just the preliminary one, not the final.
not the final.
Do they usually
Because
switch up who they run in prelims and who they run in
yep,
finals? Is it just for
yep.
fatigue?
Um, it's to give the guys who ran the individual 400 as much rest as possible in order to get ready for the final.
Got it.
And so I technically had the slowest PR of everybody in that relay pool. And so that's why I wasn't expecting to run the final of the 4x4.
Mm-hmm.
But we ran the individual 400 Sunday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and then we had a day off, and then that's when we ran prelims for the 4x4 on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
I ran anchor leg for the prelims.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, and then the thing that put me on the final for the 4x4 was Quincy Hall, who won the individual 400. He got injured. And so, next man, he was injured. Michael Norman was going through an injury as well, I believe. And so that put me next man up. And yeah, the rest is history.
The rest is history, man. So, I mean, congrats on that. You got the great team. Talk about, let's switch gears. Let's talk about Paris. Let's talk about your experience with the Olympics. I mean, what was that like? What was the city like? You could talk about, the cultural exchange, the food. Yeah, tell me just, you think about your Olympic experience. What was that like in Paris?
So I was there for 3 weeks. Of course, the last week was strictly competition, but the 2 weeks prior to that, it was an experience, I would say. I really enjoyed the opening ceremony experience. Just being able to be around all those elite athletes from not only track and field, but many other sports like golf, tennis, basketball, gymnastics, all of that. Being in the presence of a lot of people who my friends would be, fanboying over or fangirling over, just
Anybody
amazing.
in particular? Like, is it LeBron?
You
Is
already
it?
know. Of course. No, I couldn't get as close as I wanted, to get a good picture with him. But it was like one experience I had was I did a group FaceTime call with the guys I played the game with back home. And I was like, hey, y'all watch this. And then I was like, AD, could you, say what's up to my boys? So I gave AD my phone, and he started chopping it up with them. So, stuff like that. Just randomly walking in the village, and I walked past Simone Biles and Jordan Childs, like stuff like that. Just overall good experience. Food wise, I'm not a fan of the food in Europe.
Not
I
a
hate
fan
to
of
say it,
European
but
food.
yeah. And overall, me personally, it's the American in me, but I don't think I could live in Europe
Really?
without the proper American accommodations, like, common things like air conditioning. A lot of people don't like being cold over there. So me personally, I like my apartment freezing, but that's just me. But overall, just to be able to go over there and experience, the city of Paris in itself, it was pretty good.
Now, did you jump into other events? Did you go watch some of the stuff, or
Uh,
I had to stay focused?
Whenever I watched it in a little team area that Team USA had for us.
Okay.
That's where pretty much all the other sports came to mix and mingle, and just support each other throughout those 3 weeks of competition. as much as I wanted to, nah, I didn't. I didn't take the
Yeah,
chance.
you
So,
want to stay focused.
yeah, because that first 2 weeks was more so me just getting accustomed to, being in the village and training. So,
Yeah, a lot of training, I'm sure, and it really paid off because your number got called and you were there
yep.
to make history. I mean that's a lesson to be learned, man. I mean, I'm sure
Oh
it's
yeah.
been like that from the beginning. Have you always been aversions to partying and the lifestyle, or just getting out and going to
Um,
events? Even events, I mean, they're not parties, but they're perhaps a diversion. I don't know. How do you balance that in the way that you work?
I try to typically have my fun after I'm done competing. Um, so yeah, of course, I mean, I'm going to enjoy myself, you know. But then again, I know, the main goal is to be on the podium. And,
Yeah,
especially when it comes down to relays, you're not just only affecting your income or your outcome. It's three other guys on that team as well, who sometimes, their contracts depend on them doing something at these certain events. And so you have to take that into account. Even
yeah.
though track is an individual sport, when it comes down to a relay, you're a team. So,
Two
hmm
two things on that, man. First path on the team relay is the baton.
yep,
Okay, they dropped the baton in what, the 4x1.
yep.
The 4x1, they dropped the baton. You guys, you were last up. You just got called up, last minute. Didn't even know you were. What's that like? Do you guys prep it like ahead of time to understand who's fast, who's slow? Like if I want to get it in the first pocket, the first quarter of the
Mhm.
box or the last quarter of the box. Like where's the perfect place to, I guess, give the baton, and how do you guys practice it, especially when you might not know who you're running with or who your baton partner is?
hmm So it really varies between the 4x1 and the 4x4 because the 4x1 is a lot quicker. You have to make split second decisions very quickly within the 4x1, whereas the 4x4, it's a lot slower pace technically, and then so you have 400 meters to really make a decision. Within the 4x1, you got that specific exchange zone. And if you're outside the exchange zone, then, it's over. Um, I think a lot has to do with chemistry,
Okay.
which I mean, it's impossible for us to practice 4x1s all throughout the year as a country because we don't know who's going to do what at trials and who's going to actually make that team.
Right.
And so, other countries have that advantage of knowing who's going to be running on the 4x1 and, just building that chemistry throughout the year, running multiple 4x1s at a lot of the open meets throughout the year. With the
Sounds
four
like
by
the
four,
difference between the basketball team, USA basketball,
yeah,
versus the other teams. They used to say that a lot
yeah,
too.
hmm
A lot of time to build chemistry.
oh yeah. With the 4x4, we it's a lot more natural because we don't have to do things split second. There are still some times where mistakes happen, um, but it's not as technical. I would say.
So do you guys practice in at the Olympics in the first 2 weeks? Did you practice with different people that you end up doing the relay
Yep.
with? So you
hmm
guys had all practiced together, and you may have done a practice pass with maybe everybody
Yep.
just in practice, and
Yep.
then by the time the race came, you guys get it. And is the ideal placed in the middle of the allotment zone? Is that really the ideal, or
Um, it depends on who the coach is.
okay?
I believe Mike Marsh and Michelle Freeman, who is the women's relay coach. I believe they typically want us to get it like in the middle or towards the end, just to boost up that momentum to really take the baton out. And so yeah, it just depends on who the coach is.
Got you. Okay,
Mhm.
and then flipping back to that other leg of that conversation, you talked about other people's money, other
Yep.
people's opportunities.
Mhm.
Um, what's it? I mean, what is the financial pathway for a professional a professional track athlete? Let's call it. Any of the track fields. What's that been like for you, and how's that career path for younger people getting into it? Like you're a great example, I think, for them to be like, man, I I can still get a gold medal. I'm in 10th grade. I haven't
Yep.
even started running. I'm faster than everybody around. Maybe I will go be a gold medalist. Look at Chris Bailey. I could do it.
I
He could
mean,
do it. I could do it. Right. I mean, it's not that
yeah.
easy.
I mean, when it
But
comes to it, you got people like Quincy Wilson, like
yeah, tell me about that.
the youngest American, or the youngest Olympian, period, to earn a gold medal in track and field. So, you got him. That was the experience of a lifetime for him, and he's young, so he has plenty more to experience. We expect him at the LA 28 games, and then maybe another games after that, just depending on how he's feeling. If he's up for it, you know, it's
Yeah.
his dream to chase. And I believe he, has that opportunity. He's a great kid, carries himself well. So, a lot of talent. I mean, his PR's faster than mine. So, but yeah,
And
no,
he's
great
what,
kid. I got
16 or
to
something? 18?
16 years
16.
old.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Like, that's amazing.
Yeah, that's really remarkable, man.
But great guy, very level headed.
Mhm.
We chopped it up a lot. I pretty much tried to give him all the game that I know. Within the past 2 years that I've been in this professional setting, and so I'm really looking forward to not only competing with him but making more teams with him.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So, as far as that career path, and like now you're a full time, professional athlete. What's that
Hmm.
like?
Um.
As far as like
Yeah. This.
the contracts, you said they might require
Yeah.
certain things and bonuses,
Mhm.
and yeah, what's all that like?
Yeah. So this past season, this was technically my first year as a professional athlete. But I was also a grad assistant here at the University of Arkansas to finish up my master's,
Hmm.
which I finished up in May. So
Congratulations.
thank you, thank you. Going into this next season, I will, be fully focused on track and field. At the moment, I am still unsponsored, and so, you know, my agent is working. He's working. So,
Okay.
huge shout out to him. But as financially, the only things that I'm looking forward to, or that I know that is coming in for me, is prize money from the Olympics, of course. And then any prize money that I will make or have made running at these different meets. Really looking forward to being on the Diamond League circuit next year,
Okay.
and making that world team. There also are a
So they
few.
pay you for those side events as well. I think we can get
Yeah,
I think every gold medal is 37,500. The silver medals are 22,000.
yeah, but it's different for relay events
Okay.
because whatever prize money is associated with that gold medal in a
Mhm.
relay, it has to be split between everybody that ran.
Got it.
And so, I believe World Athletics is paying like 50,000
Okay.
to for each track and field gold medal. And of course, five of us ran, so split that five ways, of course.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm looking at. And then there's always a few other organizations out there like the USATF Foundation. They give out a lot of grants throughout the year, so that's something that I'm looking at. And of course, all this is kind of public knowledge. Like you can go on USATF Foundation's website; they'll show it. World Athletics is pretty open about prize money from the various events that they host.
Hmm.
So yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, man, it's an exciting, and it has a lot of perks that aren't cash based,
yeah,
obviously.
yeah,
But yeah, it's time to get you some of those sponsorships, man. We got to get you on some
yeah,
Atlanta
yeah.
based stuff. You were just throwing out. You're just at the baseball games.
Mhm.
You're on this podcast. We're gonna make sure some things, get you,
Yep,
get some sort
yep.
of visibility going, man. Because man, you're a star, and you're gonna be at this next Olympics as
Oh
well,
yeah,
holding it down. And
yes
so,
sir.
I mean, I don't know, like there's obviously people who like Noah Lyles, who
Hmm.
is a name that I mean people know from the Olympics. He does certain things. He's a lot more vocal.
Yeah,
But that doesn't. There still seems to be a thing with people where they, especially Olympians and athletes, and just the honor that they have to still
oh
be
yeah,
themselves and to not chase all of that or be like that in any way. Is that
Mhm.
that you stay true to you?
Yeah, of course, because I mean, there it may work for some people, but me myself, I've always been, more so reserved and, not as witty and outgoing. So to try to switch that up now, it just wouldn't be good because people know me, people know who I am, and also I know me and I know who I am, and it just wouldn't feel natural to me. So that's why I tend to stay the person I was when I first started, or before I even started making these teams.
Yeah,
Um, no
yeah,
sense of switching up who you are just because a gold medal. So
100%. Yeah, no, it works the other way around. Hopefully, man, the world starts changing towards you. Your teammates and your time out there. Who did you end up? I mean, you hung out with a lot of different people there. You made new
Mhm.
friendships. Like, what was that experience like?
um, it was pretty good. I wouldn't say track and field doesn't really have beef like that. I would say.
Yeah,
So we compete against each other all the time, but once we're out of that competition mindset, we're all like a big family. So I was hanging out with people from that train in different areas of the United States. And I've also was hanging out with people who were from different countries like Jamaica. I have teammates that was on Team Jamaica, Team Great Britain, Team Belgium. So friends are everywhere. You know, um, one person that I would say who was always looking out for me was Quincy Hall. Um,
really.
we've been talking ever since last World Championships. Like he tells me everything that I need to know, everything that I should know, whether it be um, working on the 400 or even the business side of the sport. He's always been somebody that would vouch for me, looking out for me, and just making sure mentally everything was okay throughout the Olympics. So.
Yeah, no, that's awesome, man. I mean, and his comeback was just epic, went
Oh yeah.
viral. Like I mean,
Mhm.
I don't, that form was just like, I don't know if that's how it's supposed to be, but it was pure determination. It was pure, just like, is that not it? That's not the,
Yeah.
that's not,
But it works for him.
it
I
does work
mean,
for him, man. I mean,
for the fastest man all time, you can't say nothing to him about his form.
man, that's hilarious, man. It wasn't supposed
Mm-hmm.
to be like that necessarily, though. Let me
Yeah.
see. I would get this up. Like the way that he ran that was just crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Like here's Quincy Hall.
And you see him sit down there in lane two. Right. It's insane. Like,
Yeah, that was a wild one. And then of course the maybe you can just take us through your experience,
mhm.
like here. I mean, what was this leg like for you? Was it one of your better ones? You're a closer, not an opener.
I would say, I would say I did want to run faster. Because we were literally this close to a new world record. So, and we get that world record. That brings in, more money for us because that's another bonus. We get a world record bonus. So,
Whoa. You
um,
did make an Olympic record, is that right?
yeah, we got the Olympic record. Mhm.
Wow. Wow. I mean, it's really all of that stuff on the line, man.
And
Like
believe it or not, that Belgium teammate that I was talking about, Jonathan Sakura, that's the guy in front of me.
what? That's one of your
No,
teammates in college?
yeah, yeah. Well, when I was at Tennessee,
When
we're
you're at
teammates at
Tennessee.
Tennessee.
Now, do you feel like more of a Vol or more of a Razorback?
I would have to say definitely more of a Razorback.
Oh,
Um,
you left him behind so soon, so quickly.
I would say a Razorback. I mean, because making it to each world team I've made, it's been here at the University of Arkansas. Um,
Okay.
so yeah, yeah. I still love the Vols though. Still love the Vols.
Still a lot of balls. What's
Mate,
it like there, man? I mean, getting a master's in operations.
Operation management.
Yeah, you
Hmm.
finished that up. Yeah, I mean, now you're gonna do the track and field thing full time and
Hmm.
just work that out, right?
Yep. Yep. I
Yeah.
mean, coming to the University of Arkansas was definitely one of the best decisions I made.
Whoa.
I feel
Okay.
like I found that coach that, really, really trains me the way I should be trained. Um, we found the right program for me, what I need to do outside of practice, and all of that. University of Arkansas has some of the best facilities, track and field facilities, you know, in the United States, and so it really benefits me remaining here. So,
Take us take us through this moment right here. What does this mean to you?
whew. So as I said before, I wanted to run faster, and I feel as though I didn't really put my team in a position that I wanted to put my team in. 44.5 leadoff is a great leadoff leg. I mean, that's what, the world record leadoff ran when they ran that. Um, but I don't know, something in me just wanted more, you know? And so I think I handed off the baton second or, close to time for first. But
Okay.
mentally, I wanted to go out there and run 43 seconds on that leadoff leg.
Right.
But, the fatigue throughout the week, because that was my fifth 400 in 7 days. Fatigue really set in. And I just didn't feel 100%. And so to be able to go out there and run a leadoff leg like that, I mean, I truly just shouldn't be complaining about it because
Right.
it
Yeah.
was
You ran the
a
same
great
lead
leg.
off as the world record.
Mm-hmm.
Almost got the world record. What is
Yeah.
this image with your teammates, your other relay racer runners? What is this image like for you?
It's a great feeling, because these guys have, had all their success in their own right. I mean, we got Bryce Deadman, last year's USA champion, multiple time All American, uh, so many different medals from world championships. This is his second Olympics. Well, actually, this all these guys second Olympics, and so to be able to experience that with them and help them achieve another medal on this stage is just amazing. Vernon Norwood, we call him Unc because
Yeah.
he got a little age on him, but he had a phenomenal Olympics. To be 32 and still go out there and running 43 seconds in a 400 is insane. Not too many people can do that. Not too many people have done that. Um, Looking forward to seeing him next year at World Championships. I'm trying to persuade him to go to LA 28, but he's telling me no.
He
But
keeps telling you
we'll
no.
see.
He'll be
We'll
30.
see.
He'll be a young 36, man. What's wrong with
Look,
that?
I'm saying Karani James can do it. I feel like Vernon can do it. And then we got Rob Benzman, of course. He has been setting the hurdles on fire these past few years. And so to see him finally achieve his Olympic gold medal, it was just amazing.
Yeah, and then of course we got the young phenom, Mr. Chris
Mr.
Bailey,
Left.
with the fresh
Oh,
shades
yeah.
on, right there.
Yep. Shout out
The,
Oakley.
the up and coming guy, Oakley. We need that brand deal right now. Go
Yeah,
ahead and
yeah.
sew it up because you see this image. This is not a game. This is a star in the making, and we got another Olympics
Sir.
on the way with the young phenom right there. And so,
Yep.
one last time on the medal for me. Can we pull that out?
Oh,
Check
yes,
it
of
out
course.
and just do a little medal tour real quick.
Here we go. It's like a grand opening. Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then explain what's on the front and back. I know there's a piece of the Eiffel Tower in there.
So
Like,
yeah, this
let's
is the
break.
piece of the Eiffel Tower.
Okay.
I was told by a Paralympian that when they were redoing the Eiffel Tower and making fixes to it, they had extra pieces that were melted down and incorporated into our medal. And on the back, this is typically what everybody is familiar with. They incorporated the Eiffel Tower. I'm trying to get the glare out of it. They incorporated the Eiffel Tower back here. I believe there's like a track or something down there, and then the original building atop Mount Olympus
Oof, oof,
back there. But yeah, good
oof.
detail. And then on the bottom is the event that was won in. My camera quality not that good, but
Yeah, that's all good.
on the bottom it
We'll get another
says
look at it.
men's 4x4 relay. So yeah, and then they gave us this nice blue case, had it on the sides. They gave us a pin on the bottom, and then just a statement about our Olympic achievement.
Wow,
Yeah.
wow. So, I mean, is there anything more we can learn from your mindset and your training that goes into this
Um,
excellence that you're producing out here?
Three things I would say is, I mean, of course, I've said being coachable before, and having that dedication. But the last thing I would like to add is, just having a strong support system. Because when I said, as I said before, I didn't think I would make that individual team. While I was thinking that, nearly everybody around me was like, "You will do it. You have the strength to do it. Um, it's just a matter of you believing in yourself." And with them, that helped me believe in myself.
Wow.
So, mhm.
It makes a lot of sense. Anything? I mean, those are some good guidance. I mean, thoughts about for young people thinking about getting in the track and field, maybe haven't started it, or maybe they have, and they're on their way. What do they learn from you as you, like I said, get this Oakley contract, set the stage, run these best times, continue to shave seconds off of your PRs. How do you stay with it? I mean, what's your routine like every day? What's your routine like? Are you up early, getting after it during the season? Is it
um,
grueling?
Sometimes it can be, especially in that postseason where you're training for that major championship. Throughout the year, I mean, it was pretty good. I was busy, so I was up early in the morning for my grad assistantship. Um, we typically lift weights early in the morning before everyone has class because I still train with the collegiate group because
Okay.
I'm my coach's only professional athlete, and so I still work with the collegiate group just to get that team aspect in because you know it'd be difficult for me to train every day by myself um, mentally, and so being with that team environment still really helps on that mental aspect. But yeah, I was up early in the morning. We typically lift weights early, Tuesdays and Thursdays, um, and Fridays and Saturdays, depending on what's going on campus. So if we have home football games, we would lift on the day that they don't have a football game. So whether that be Friday or Saturday. Um, Other than that, my coach really doesn't like the early morning thing.
Oh yeah.
Typically do stuff around 2 o'clock on a daily basis.
Wow.
Um,
And what do you do for fun,
yeah,
man? When you're not running track and practicing and getting ready and being a student athlete,
yeah,
being an
yeah.
exemplar citizen.
hmm
What do you
I
do for
spend
fun?
most of my days inside. I'm not gonna lie. I spend most of my days inside, playing video games or either going over to friends' houses or whatnot. Um,
What kind of video games you into?
I love me some Call of Duty, man.
Yeah.
Love the Call of Duty. I'm not a big sports fan, so
That's surprising.
yeah. So I typically stay away from all the 2Ks and the Maddens and stuff like that. My friends are big on that, so whenever we're in the PlayStation party, I will watch them play if I'm not playing the game myself. Um, but yeah, yeah, I'm a big first person shooter guy. Um, I do like a good single player game. It doesn't matter what it is, just single player with a good storyline. I do love that. Last year, or well, actually, I believe it last year. For my birthday, I went to a gun range, and that's when that love for firearms became a thing. So I
Okay.
typically go to the gun range sometimes. Um, but I do plan on getting me a motorcycle. I want a motorcycle real bad.
You're a daredevil, man. You a
Yeah.
motorcycle with the first person shooter, like.
Yeah. But yeah, man, I don't really do much, and that's why I said Arkansas is a good fit for me because it's not a busy city, and it's a college town, and so not much trouble to get into, really.
Yeah, that's good. I
Mhm.
mean, are you proud to be American or being
Oh yes.
American? Were you like that always growing up in Atlanta? Did this Olympics make you more proud?
I would say that the Olympics definitely made me more proud. Of course, as a person of color, as a black man in America, we typically go through a lot. Um, and I don't really too much touch on subjects like that. But
Hmm.
because me personally, I haven't experienced any type of discrimination, or anything like that. I mean, even being in Mississippi, um, or just in general, the whole South, like being in the South all my life, I have never experienced any prejudice, but I know it's out there. It's definitely out there. It's definitely everywhere. So I'm gracious that I haven't experienced that on my end. Um, but I'm also gracious to be, I would say, a vessel for people that look like us. Anything is possible. You play your cards right, follow your dreams, have the right people in your corner, and you can do whatever you want. Um, you know, Support is always there. You just got to find it within the right people and have the right people in your corner backing you. So
Yeah, no, that is a important perspective, man. To hear somebody who's been in the South their whole life. I mean, I could say it, but I'm from Detroit,
yeah,
and so and yeah, man, it is a interesting thing to I think about that as a black man in America, but also how the Olympics might impact that. Okay, well, you heard it here first. Olympic gold medalist Chris Bailey. Thanks for joining us, and we can't wait to get to that next one on National Champion Radio.